Well, ladies and gentlemen, we get the assumed datamine sneak peek for the Winter Soldier, who rises once again. Let's go. And apparently he's French? I don't know. We'll see from the sneak peek. Over on the forums, they got quite a bit of information. The supervillain, who has overcome numerous winters, has returned with stronger powers to overturn the world. From winter to revolution. And so this revolution wording fits with the Winter Soldier Revolution comic cover that we saw. That was sort of referencing the look that he was going to have in-game. Check out the new looks and abilities of this villain, the powerful soldier who has been freed from repeated hibernation. We will provide more information through the update, through the patch details. So, a couple of things to note here. One, there are no more sneak peeks, which is super sad because it means there's a high possibility that next week's update is just Winter Soldier and nothing else. No Red Hulk, nothing else. That's depressing. That's the first thing. Second thing, we're getting a new look, new uniform, and a new ability, which means they're dropping Winter Soldier's Tier 4 ahead of time. Now, I think from the rest of the wording, particularly the focus, emphasis on supervillain, I understand what they're trying to do, and it's exactly what they did for Sam Wilson. But first, let's check out the sneak peek. So this time they ditched the silhouette and they went with a non-silhouette version. This is why I said France, because of the colors. Could be Russia as well. They went with a non-silhouetted version of the PowerPoint presentation. This is fine. I think this is better than the silhouetted version, but I still think it's, I don't still think. It is still a PowerPoint. But we do get a good look at Winter Soldier, and he looks all right. He looks all right. Yeah, he doesn't look too bad here. He's got the man bun. He's got the frowny face. Doesn't really look like Sebastian Stan. More just looks like Winter Soldier. So that's fine. And he's got that like cape thing on one of his shoulders. It's exactly what we saw from the Winter Soldier Revolution image that we had shown previously. Yeah, you find it immediately, and yeah, it's pretty spot on. Not with the one from Rivals necessarily, but more so the one from the comics. So yeah, that's gonna be it for Bucky. As far as what I see from this update, Commander actually made a good point over on Twitter that because this uniform for Bucky, well, if it's a singular update, if it's just one character, and if it's a uniform for a character that also exists in Marvel Rivals, you see where I'm going with this. They did the same thing for Magic a month ago, right? Or less than a month ago, whatever. Why couldn't they have made this? Why couldn't they have branded this a Rivals skin for Bucky as well? I don't know. Maybe the optics on that just make it impossible. Maybe that's just not what they agreed on, but whatever. I mean, I don't think it really matters at the end of the day. I mean, I would say probably would be better, slightly better for the optics of Marvel Future Fight if we kept getting more Rivals skins. I think it wouldn't be a net negative, and it could only be a net positive. But at the same time, you know, there's probably a host of reasons why maybe they didn't want to do that. The other thing here for Winter Soldier to consider why it wasn't a Rivals update or whatever skin is the Thunderbolts movie. So we know the Thunderbolts movie is coming out. We've already seen trailers for it at the Super Bowl. It is slated for, I think, May 2nd in Canada. So pretty much exactly when the anniversary is. This is a huge gift in disguise for us because it means that they're going to drop this update for the anniversary. They're going to try really hard for all of these characters, because the anniversary is when there's so much focus on the game, so many eyes on the game. That's max scrutiny, so they don't want to screw it up. So we should hopefully be seeing some pretty juicy upgrades for, you know, a Red Guardian, for Winter Soldier, for Yelena, possibly for Sentry, and then Ghost and Taskmaster, and maybe even seeing US Agent as a new character. So yeah, quite a lot to digest there, but Winter Soldier's prominently featured, right? Winter Soldier's right there in that picture. It's probably pretty low. Winter Soldier's right there. Like, Winter Soldier's all over this. So if they're gonna do an update, they're probably going to include him, which means that they're probably going to want to pivot this uniform in compared to that one. Because if they're dropping a uniform now in February and they're going to drop another uniform in May, right? So here's what I'm thinking. They emphasized so much in the sneak peek that Bucky is a villain, right? Villain. There's like the super villain. Bucky's not a super villain. He's never been a super villain before in the game. Even if you just go back to his base look, he's not a villain. He's a hero, because his ability has always, or sorry, his instinct has always been justice since they released the instinct system. So he's a hero. So this is the first time they're actually ever releasing a Winter Soldier villain uniform. Believe it or not, like even in Civil War, he's not a villain. He's a hero. It's kind of weird, but he's literally never been a villain. So for the first time ever, they're dropping a villain uniform for him. We'll have to see if they keep him as a speed type or if they change him to combat or something else. We'll talk about that in a second. But my thoughts are that it's essentially exactly the same blueprint as Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson had never been a villain. And then for the Zombies update, they dropped him as a villain. Everyone was scratching their heads like, why am I buying this uniform? He's going to get another one for the movie in like 4 months. And then lo and behold, 4 months later, he gets another one for the movie that turns him back into a hero. I think this is exactly the same playbook. I don't think the Marvel Future Fight devs are that creative, unfortunately. I wish they were more creative, but they're not. So I think they're going to do the exact same thing. They're dropping a Winter Soldier, possibly a support tier 4 as a villain, and they're going to try to sell the uniform to you as a support tier 4. And then in 3 months, when he gets his movie uniform, they're going to turn him back into a hero, and it's going to be his DPS uniform. Again, you know, we'll see what it is. But this is my speculation. As far as what we need from Winter Soldier's upgrade, it's pretty much a top to bottom respec. Winter Soldier has not been good now for years. This last uniform from the Disney Plus show was a flop. So they're going back all the way to Infinity War. That was his last good uniform. I kid you not. We're going back to like 2018, 2019 kind of shit. This is like 6 years ago that they made a good Winter Soldier uniform. So I don't have a lot of hope right now because lately the upgrades have been really lame for characters. We're looking at Sam Wilson. We're looking at Red Hulk. Hopefully whoever did Magic's uniform, this person needs to be on full duty, okay? If anyone at Marvel or Netmarble is watching, this person, wow. Okay, Jemiketa, like so good. They're so good. Okay, this is really good. This is really good. You know, this, really bad. Really bad. Boo, boo, really bad. So, yeah, I mean, listen, guys, it's hit or miss. It is what it is. Sometimes they rework a character and they cook. And sometimes they rework a character and it's an absolute flop. So this is just what we have to deal with. There's 2 teams that work on Marvel Future Fight, and unfortunately one of them is clearly much more talented and understands the game on a much deeper level than the other team. And so we just have to it's annoying. It's annoying. It is what it is. But yeah, it's just a top to bottom rework, man. I don't have to go through and detail step by step what they need to do because they need to do so many things. Now, Bucky actually has quite a few interesting abilities. Like, he has iframe ignore with counterattack on his 3rd skill, which is pretty cool. He has frenzy buffs. He has accumulation. Like, he has a lot of good stuff. Mainly the issue with Winter Soldier, his passives are really shit. Like, this passive is really, really shit. And the fact that it only buffs him for a few seconds, then it goes on cooldown is ridiculous. His other passive is also pretty shit. You can see he's got, like, some of the worst passives in the game. If you compare him to like modern passives, it's insane how bad his passives are. 5% HP. This is not a uniform from like 10 years ago, guys. This is a uniform from like 3 years ago. And they thought it was a good idea to give him 5% HP and 5% all defense. Like, they have been criminally undercooking this guy for years. I speculate that they probably undercooked the shit out of this uniform. Remember, he looked like a Neanderthal and they had to update his face because players were complaining so much. They probably phoned this one in back in the day because originally the timeline for Thunderbolts was much, much closer. So they probably thought, oh, we're just going to be dropping a Thunderbolts uniform for him anyways. Who cares? So, yeah, I don't know. But they got to just do a top to bottom rework. They got to buff the shit out of this guy. But more importantly, very closely tied to buffing the shit out of him. But more importantly, they have to start answering the question, and I have to start like hammering this home in every single video. Like, really, the devs need to answer this question. Where are the players going to use Winter Soldier? Where Odi soyo. Where are the players going to use Winter Soldier? We need them to think about this ahead of time, and they need to have good answers. If your answer is Shadowland or Alliance Conquest, start over. Scrap the plans and start again and try again and do better this time. Do better. Where is he going to be? Story mode. No, you're wrong. Scrap it. Try again. This is a problem that we continue to have in this game, and it's why your sales go like this. It's why your sales fluctuate so much. You've done a good job to stabilize the sales a little bit, or I would say like you bring up the bottom of the sales. The sales are probably a little bit better. Instead of dipping so low and dipping up, they probably don't dip as much anymore. But listen, it's not enough, right? You're doing that with clever sales, whatever, that's fine, but players are going to get tired of that eventually. You know what players are not going to get tired of? Characters that actually have meaning in the game. So you have to figure something out, talk to your team, have a team meeting, talk to the good MFF team that's working on the next update, okay? Talk to everybody, talk to the manager, okay? Bring Joe in, bring the Marvel people, bring Dakota in, okay? And you got to talk about this. Every character needs a place to go that is interesting, that is compelling. Interesting and compelling. Where is Winter Soldier going to go that Sam Wilson's not going? That Sam Wilson's zombie uniform is not going? We need an answer to this. Where is Winter Soldier going to go, and where is he going to be used that the new Bullseye is not being used? Where? If you're telling me that Winter Soldier is coming in to replace Bullseye by 500,000 points, you're going to have a problem on your hands. Players are going to be very upset. This is now the 4th time in less than a year that speed villains have been replacing each other, right? From Mystique to Gwenpool to Bullseye to now Winter Soldier. This is unacceptable, bro. This is in a year. In a year. Mystique was released last year in January. It's literally 12 months. That's every 3 months you're replacing one type of character because you're too lazy to put the character, to make the character good for another game mode. Why can't Winter Soldier be good for PvP? Do we have too many good speed characters for PvP? Let's take a look. No, we don't. No, we don't. Most of these characters are trash for PvP. Trash. So, yeah, this is the question. I could do a whole 20-minute rant video on this. This is the question they need to start answering better than they've been answering. They have been ignoring this question or answering it in a very shallow way, and they need to have, they need to face some pretty hard questions and truths, and they need to maybe look at their planning for the game and their timeline for new game modes, and they need to coordinate with existing characters and future characters. Because if you're going to release a game mode and that game mode is going to be dominated by the characters like Sentry and Null or characters like Doctor Strange who are already dominating all of the other game modes, it's just boring for the players. It's just boring. There's no reason to build up any other characters, because once you build up the very few characters you need, you're done. And it's a collection game, so you want to emphasize the collection. Emphasize the collection. It drives me nuts, bro. I probably will have to rant about this in another video. Anyways, guys, that's it for Winter Soldier. There's nothing else coming, presumably, so buckle up for another 2 weeks of... 2.5 weeks, frankly, of Winter Soldier. Yeah, it's going to be a cold one, boys. Get your parkas. Hit me up in the comments down below. Maybe we go on a rant. Maybe we go on like a biblical rant run for this next couple weeks. Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm going overboard. Maybe I'm not. Thank you so much for watching the video. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the content, or the thumbs down if you hated it. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.